Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Chrissy Hodges. Thanks so much for being here. I am an advocate for OCD, in particular the community name Pure OCD, which is also the name of my memoir. And I'm a certified peer support specialist, working with people around the world to support you in recovery and also to provide referrals to therapists if that is what you're looking for. I wanted to talk about this really quick. This came up in group tonight, actually, and I really thought it was important. So this will be a little bit of a shorter video, but I just wanted to talk about it while it was on my mind. And basically what this is about acceptance, and it's the distinction between accepting what your theme is and accepting the actual disorder and living with it. Before that, I just wanted to let you know NoCD is an app. They have a lot of things inside of the app that you can connect with other people who have OCD and a lot of resources. And they also do teletherapy and ERP in many, many places in the world. So if you want to find out more about them, go to treatmyocd.com. I want to apologize for my hair. I've been in online training all day, and so it's just been work since 7:30 this morning, and I did not shower or anything, so I know it's a lot of control, but whatever. It's just good to see you, and it's good to be here. So wanted to talk about this really important topic that came up, and I actually had a little bit of an epiphany about it for myself and for understanding how to flesh out the what acceptance means. Now, a lot of times we have a hard time with acceptance. There's no rhyme or reason why. I mean, acceptance is just hard in general. When you have to look at something for what it is instead of what we want it to be or what we think it should be or what something could be based on our beliefs, or maybe that would be better if it was, or this or that. Acceptance just is shitty, right? Because it really just is. And I've talked about radical acceptance before in other videos, but it really just is looking at something for what it is and accepting that and not looking for any sort of alterations or that there might be anything different. When it comes to OCD, when it comes to a lot of things in our lives, that is a terrifying and almost painful experience because we want to view things the way that we do. We want things to be different than the way that they are. We want people to be different or to be capable, or we want people to see things the way that we do. We want our lives to be different. We want our symptoms to be different. Acceptance is letting go of all of that and really just going, this is how it is, and I don't have to fight to change that, and making choices inside of that realization. Whew, that's tough, isn't it? Because don't we all want the ideal world that revolves around us? That's not how life is. We want it to be. And many of us actually believe that that's what life is, that life just revolves around us, when in reality, life is just happening, but it's happening to us. It's not necessarily happening for us. And I mean, it's happening to us as if in the explanation of things are happening and unfolding, but we are not the center of that. We just perceive that from our perspective. So acceptance comes in as difficult because we want things to align with how we view things and revolving around who we are. So when we take OCD, for example, a lot of times you're going to think about who you were before OCD. Now you can substitute this for anything, and I think that this is an important point. You can substitute this for trauma. Before the big trauma happened to me, before something happened that changed your life, changed your worldview, changed who you are, you think back to who that person was before that and how different things could be. You know, you think back, if you've had some sort of physical injury, I've lost an arm, I've developed cancer, I've developed diabetes. You think back to who you were before that, right? Oh, how I long to be the person before this thing came up and caused me trauma, suffering, broke my worldview, made me have to see things that are differently than just through that rose-colored lens. We all have that ideal. I want to be the person before this happened. No other than what I hear from people with OCD. If only I could be the person I was before this showed up, right? I mean, I think that too, but I was 8. I do not want to be 7 again. But there is just this ideal of thinking, if only I didn't have the suffering, if only I didn't have the trauma of it, how different could life be? So the acceptance piece is saying, man, I have to accept that this is my life moving forward. What I equate that with is suffering is my life moving forward. And I refuse to accept that, because I refuse to accept that I will suffer every single day. Well, I don't suffer every single day. I've been through effective treatment. I continue to work on myself and rehabilitate and recover. I don't suffer every day. But damn, wouldn't it be awesome if I didn't suffer at all? So by not choosing acceptance, then I'm just stuck in this place where I just think to myself, if life isn't perfect every day, then I'm fucked. And life sucks. And I don't want to be in that place. Acceptance to deny acceptance is actually to deny who I am with what I am given and how I'm working within that to be able to make my life the best that I can be. Some days choosing acceptance is easy. Some days it's harder, and some days it's painful, and I choose not to accept it, and I fight, and typically then that's when I'm going to suffer, which is interesting, right? But what I want to emphasize today, just really quickly, and then I'll wrap up, is that there are 2 layers here, and I want you to hear me. When we talk about acceptance, or if you're on social media, you're going to hear a lot of people being like, oh, accept the thoughts. And y'all know I just hate those stupid ass taglines when it comes to OCD. Like, fuck off. Like, OCD cannot be, like, recovery from OCD cannot be summed up in a tagline. Like, give me a fucking break. Sorry about F-bombs, by the way. I just had a long day. There are 2 layers here. There are 2 layers here that I want to make, to distinguish between. Acceptance of the disorder, okay? Acceptance of the disorder is everything I just talked about between right now and before. We have a brain disorder. You can't get away from it, man. Like, that's just the way it is. You can deny it, and then when it comes back, it's going to hit you like a brick wall, and you're going to get knocked down to your knees, and you're going to go, man, I just thought that if I got treatment, everything would be better for the rest of my life. It's not the way it is. You have to manage OCD. You have to manage brain disorders. That is recovery. And the acceptance of that is, I have a disorder and I just need to be mindful and I need to see what works for me. And I can work on this every day. So the things that present to that make you not want to do that are stigma. Nobody wants to have a brain disorder. Nobody wants to feel like damaged goods. Nobody wants anybody else to know that you have a mental illness, because what is that saying about you? So it's scary, right? The other piece is, if I accept that I have the disorder, then that means I'm going to suffer the rest of my life. Nope. Okay, again, now this is a misconception, because acceptance is hard when you're suffering, but you're not suffering all the time with OCD. You're not. You may be in a slump right now, or you may not have had treatment yet and it feels like that, But like any other disorder, any other physical ailment, you can get treatment and you can get relief. So keep seeking out those things. Acceptance piece is, if I accept this, that means I have to face that this is a lifelong illness. I mean, listen, y'all, you either accept it or you don't, right? I mean, you can say, I'm not going to accept that. And then when it shows up, then you're going to be like, well, shit, is this the time I have to accept it? You know, so accept it now or accept it later. That time is going to come, you know, or don't accept it and then not be able to be aware of when symptoms show up or how to recognize OCD or to do the work and put your tools in the toolbox to go, I'm going to get ahead of this before it gets ahead of me. Okay, so acceptance is crucial to that. However, I want you to know I understand denial. Denial is one of the greatest ways of dealing with anything. If for some time, if in some way and for a small amount of time or even a long amount of time, you just need some reprieve. So denial is an important stage in any sort of emotional acceptance, okay? So be in it as long as you need to, but just know at some point it's gonna come back around to acceptance. And you can revisit this video then and know that I'm still gonna be there walking alongside of you to help. Now, lastly, there's the acceptance of the disorder. We just talked about that. Boom, you gotta accept it. That's just the way it is. And you have to accept what you've been through with it too. Okay, then there is, are you ready? Everybody gets all riled up about thinking they have to, and this is where the taglines come in, accept the themes. Accept that I might be this, accept that I might be that. Okay, this is a strategy that some people use. This is a strategy that helps some people. Not every strategy helps every person. Sometimes people with POCD cannot just say, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. They can't just accept that that might be the truth because it's an inflammatory theme. And at the end of the day, that may not be acceptable to accept it. But that's not the point of this video, but I just wanted to reaffirm that for you if you're struggling with that a lot of people struggle with that. And the key to that, go visit Dr. Stephen Phillipson, is instead of acceptance, you want to make it irrelevant. You want to make thoughts irrelevant. There you go. The theme is a symptom. Have you ever heard that? Your theme is a symptom of the disorder. It is inside the bubble of the disorder. Now, this is what you think. You think the theme is everything. The theme is you. The theme defines everything. And I have to accept the theme in order to accept this. And I have to accept, and the theme is all that matters is the theme. No, first of all, we know this. The theme is the vessel. The compulsions are everything. The compulsions are also a symptom, right? So the compulsions are everything. That is what keeps the cycle alive, doing the compulsions, because you can't stop arguing with your amygdala. You have to do the compulsions in order to make sure to prove that whatever the intrusive thoughts are or aren't real. There's a cycle here. And part of the cycle is the theme, the intrusive thoughts. That is a symptom. Maybe you haven't looked at it that way. Maybe you've looked at it as theme, and then what do I do to disprove the theme? And then, oh, this must be OCD. Wait, in like the, like that small writing at the bottom of stuff that you don't see because you just don't want to believe that that's the truth. Acceptance is about accepting that this is a disorder because the theme falls under that. The theme falls in the fact that this is a disorder. Now, I am talking logical. And so I know what your brain is doing right now. It's going, this isn't true, and this doesn't apply to me and everything, because you're thinking in threat OCD brain, right? But if you step back for a hot minute and look at this objectively, this is a disorder. Like, believe me or not, like, I'm not going to sit here and convince you, and I'm certainly not going to answer emails of you saying mine is or isn't a disorder because everybody worries it's not. But the theme exists within the disorder. The compulsions exist within the disorder. So you have to see them as symptoms of the disorder. Does that make sense? Don't answer that because it's probably compulsive. So the acceptance piece really has to come first, that this is a disorder. And I'm going to tell you what you have to do. You have to fake it until you make it. And I hate that saying worse than almost anything. The only saying I hate worse than that is just saying. When people say that, I just want to, I have violent intrusive thoughts and they're not OCD. You have to kind of force yourself and choose to believe it before your brain can believe it. Why? Because forcing and choosing is a behavioral action, and the only part of the brain that responds to OCD only understands behavior. So here's what I have to say to you today. Understand the mechanism that's going on. What you have to accept is that you have a brain disorder, and you're going to have problems accepting that because it feels too real. So instead of focusing on the fact that it's disordered, you're thinking, but no, because the theme is real. Alter this and look at it this way. The theme is a symptom. The compulsions are a symptom. So start working on acceptance of the disorder first and objectively observe how everything inside of that is always the same. Why? Because symptoms are always the same. And if you can recognize that, then they become predictable. And that's when you can actually see and behaviorally believe this is OCD. So that's what I came here to tell you tonight, because this kind of really was conceptualized to me when we were talking about it in group. Accept the disorder as part of your life. Work on that acceptance and accept anything inside of that as the symptoms. And maybe that can help motivate you or give you just a little bit more faith and hope that you can and will be able to work toward recovery and learn to manage this. I'll be out of town next week, but I'm still going to do a video, and I can't wait to show you where I'm at. But I hope this made sense, and I hope it helps in whatever capacity. And I hope that you have a great week, and I will see you soon. If you're interested in services, go to ChrissyHodges.com. Bye now.